Okay, now we're going to go ahead and move into filling in our Mi Mejor Amigo slide 23, Más Vocabulario. Again, you should have already inserted this new slide as your new slide 23. If you haven't done so, please stop the video now and do so. Okay, we're just going to kind of go through it. Again, you might want to handwrite these on a sheet of paper if you can't try and watch the video and type on a split screen on your iPad. The first one is I am hungry. These particular phrases, the particular phrase saying I am thirsty, I am hungry, we would refer to these as like tener idioms. Idioms are phrases that don't literally translate word for word. Just like when you say your age, that's an idiom, because when you say tengo 13 años, you're saying I have 13 years, but we would never say that in English. We would say I am 13. And that's the same thing here. I'm hungry and I'm thirsty are actually going to use the verb tener. So you guys should know from last year to say I am is tengo, or I have. And then hunger in Spanish is feminine, hambre. Repeat to yourself, tengo hambre. Tengo hambre. Okay, the next one is I'm thirsty, or I have thirst. I have is tengo. The word for thirst is sed. Again, I'm going to put sed is feminine. And I'm going to write that hambre is also feminine. And that is because you guys will be writing some sentences in the future that will have a possibility that you might use the word like a lot. So you have to use the right gender of it. And hambre and sed are both feminine. You don't have to add that. I'm just giving you a heads up. If you want to, you can. Okay, the next section is to discuss health. The word for health, you guys should all know. We learned it when we were learning our subjects, which is la salud. To walk, it is the verb caminar. You guys know it from last year. Remember, pasear is the process of like going for a walk. Caminar is the actual moving one foot in front of the other. Repeat to yourself, caminar. Caminar. Okay, you should also know to exercise. Hacer ejercicio. A new one is to do yoga. Hacer yoga. What a nice cognate. Hacer yoga. Reminder, the purple boxes down here, it says clave. Verbs are in these color boxes. Some are AR, some are ER, and some are IR. The irregular ones, I'm going to show you how to conjugate at least the yo form, the I form, and the to form, the you familiar. So below hacer yoga, hacer ejercicio, we're now going to say to do yoga, to do exercise, you do yoga, and you do exercise. So to say I do, the yo form of it is obviously optional, yo. Hago. And you guys have actually all been wanting to use that word. Like, what do you do after school? I do my homework. Hago la tarea. So now you can conjugate all those hacer verbs from last year. So there you go. Repeat to yourself, hago. This is what I like to call a yo to go verb. Hacer conjugates to go, ending in the yo form. You familiar? The word is tú, con acento, option you. I did forget at the bottom to give you that characters. So let me go ahead and do that now before I forget. Have I done that on a different one at all? Oh, here we go. Sorry. Okay, I guess I will add that at the end of after the video. The to form of hacer is haces. That's actually normal. It's just dropping the ER and adding an ES. Haces. Haces. Okay, to lift weights, the verb to lift is levantar. And again, if you knew everything, if you remembered everything I taught you, you could remember levanta la mano, raise your hand, levántate, stand up. We went over that at the beginning of last year. Weights are pesas. Repeat to yourself, levantar pesas. Levantar pesas. Sometimes you might say, like, lifting weights, doing exercises is good for one's health. The phrase for one's health is para la salud. Para la salud. And another phrase is like to maintain one's health, you should exercise. So this is going to use the phrase para, and the verb to maintain is mantener. And it kind of actually does look like maintain if you look at it. It is an ER verb. I am going to tell you that it is an E2IE. You will not be conjugating it at any point in the future, but just thought I would let you know that since I told you it was a verb. And it's this first E, obviously, because the second E is in the ending. And then one's health is kind of, or the health, la salud. Again, you'll never write this E to IE. It's just, again, me giving you a heads up. Okay. Para mantener la salud. Para mantener la salud. Okay, a new verb today is to prefer. You've seen it in some of the dialogues already. It is preferir. Preferir. I'm also going to tell you that this is an E to IE. You do not have to write that down. However, it is helpful to know where I'm getting this from. And I'm going to underline the second E because it is the second E that is the stem changer, not the first E. So then, also, you might want to know that it is a boot verb. So in the boot, the E is going to change to IE. So that's where this comes from. I prefer, conjugated, is yo prefiero. So if you notice, the second E changed to IE because the yo form is in the boot. Is the to form, the you familiar form in the boot? Hopefully you're thinking to yourself, yes, señora. So that would be tú prefieres. Is making that IE get really, really close. I zoomed in, but I guess I can zoom in a little bit more for you. So, prefieres. I dropped the IR and I added an ES. Another verb that's a lot used in this section is like, you should do this, you must do this. It is the verb deber. Ita deber. Deber. It's a regular ER verb. Debo, debes, debe, debemos, debes, deben. Okay, moving over to the right-hand side. Another verb, this is to indicate agreement or disagreement. To think or believe, it is the verb creer. Creer. It's a regular ER verb. You just drop the endings creo, crees, cree, creemos, crees, creen. So I think is obviously going to be optional. Yo creo que. It's like saying I think that. I think not. Creo. Optional yo, sorry. Oops, this is not credo. It's creo. That was an extra D. I apologize. Yo creo que. I think not. Yo creo que no. Yo creo que no. I think so. Optional yo creo que sí, con acento. Yo creo que sí. I agree is saying to be in agreement. It's going to use the verb estar because it's how you feel. So the yo form is optional. Yo estoy de acuerdo. Y to yourself, estoy de acuerdo. Yo estoy de acuerdo. If you're not in agreement, yo no estoy de acuerdo. Yo no estoy de acuerdo. Okay, almost done with the notes. We do know this a little bit from last year. However, we touched on it real quick. The word for why and because are actually the same word in Spanish. However, they are spelled differently, and you need to make sure you spell them correctly. A lot of the kids remember the word why because it has 3 letters. It is a 2-word phrase, but each of them has 3 letters, and it kind of looks shorter when you separate it apart. Upside down question mark, shift option, upside down question mark, and it is por space que e con acento. Option E, release the letter E. Repeat to yourself, ¿por qué? You know your parents' famous response, why, mom? Because I said so. And the word because is literally the same word, but it is longer and not really. It's just squished together and no accent mark because it's not a question. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? Okay, these are used to express quantity or like how much. So these are going to sometimes be used before nouns, and you have to make them agree with what you're talking about, kind of in gender and number. Not the word something. The word something is algo. That has nothing to do with that as much. It's these 2 words. So there's actually 4 words for the word many or much, and those 4 words are either mucho, mucha, muchos, and muchas. And again, it just depends on what you're talking about. A lot of thirst, well, thirst is singular and feminine, so it'd be mucha sed. A lot of weights, pesas, are feminine and plural, so you would say levantar muchas pesas. And usually they go before the noun that you're talking about. Okay, the word is all, and it's usually todos or todas. Again, depending on what you're talking about. Todos masculine, todas feminine. Todos, todas. And we actually kind of know that from all of the days back in 3A vocabulario, todos los días. And it's todos because días is masculine and plural. To describe something, we know most of these already. The word for horrible in Spanish is horrible. Don't forget that it can be horribles, depending on what you're describing. Horrible, horribles. The 4 words for bad describing food usually is malo, mala, malos, malas. And gender and number of what you're talking about. And tasty, flavorful, new word is sabroso, sabrosa. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room for all this. We'll see. Sabrosos, sabrosas. I don't, so let's just do S in parentheses, S in parentheses. And now you have technically all of them within one. Sabroso, sabrosos, sabrosa, sabrosas. Okay, that is the end of the notes. That is it mainly for today's lesson. You're going to go ahead now and work on a different activity. Again, please make sure that you've inserted this as slide 23 and that you have filled in the notes with the video, and try and practice your pronunciation by repeating after me. Gracias.